I sure am, boy. Ever heard of Evel Knievel?
Week 9 of the Bond Film of the Week covered The Man with the Golden Gun. It's often called out to be one of the weakest Bond films, but I find enjoyment in it. That mainly comes down to Christopher Lee and the simple premise: world's greatest spy versus world's most lethal assassin. Sure, it has a lot of flaws and it's cartoony in places, but I find it more enjoyable than the previous two Bond films, also directed by Guy Hamilton. Anyway, let's once again find out what my awesome supporters have to say about this film.
I have a golden gun. It's a sawed-off. What can I say? I'm Jewish. The Man with the Golden Gun, 1974, directed by Guy Hamilton and starring Sir Roger Moore. For me, Sir Roger's good Bond movies were in the 5 or 6 out of 10 territory. For the most part, I enjoyed his bad Bond movies more. For the most part. I can't really bring myself to defend The Man with the Golden Gun. There were parts I liked. The fight in the middle, it was just straight up Enter the Dragon. Nick Nack, Mary Goodnight, I like them. Andrea, she's great. Obviously, Sir Christopher Lee. And that's about it. Because, I said before that Sir Roger's take on the character would have been better suited to fighting with charm and wit. But instead, the filmmakers and the screenwriters went with having him fight with gags. And occasionally they work. The speak now or forever hold your peace line and the aforementioned martial arts fight. And the immature pervert in me kind of gets a kick out of the bit where Mary Goodnight almost kills Bond. But, you know, when the gags miss, they miss hard. If you liked Sheriff Pepper in Live and Let Die, this movie will do its damnedest to sour your opinion of him. Pushing that kid out of the boat was a bit of a dick move. Kind of understand why Sir Roger became a UNICEF ambassador. And, oh yeah, there's this Asian woman named Chu Mi. No plot relevance whatsoever. She just exists for the sake of a lame pun. Overall, personally, I'd say this movie is about on par with Live and Let Die in terms of how much I personally enjoyed it. Again, there were things I did enjoy. But it is kind of a shame that out of all the James Bond movies, this is the one that had Sir Christopher Lee in it.
The Man with the Golden Gun is often regarded as one of the weakest films in the James Bond series, and upon this last viewing, I can kind of see why. The plot has some really good ideas, with this single hitman being the equal one, and having this sort of build-up confrontation between the two, but it's modeled by this tacked on and not very interesting subplot about this super advanced solar energy device. And there's just a lot of elements in this movie that are either not very well thought out or just totally out of place. Roger Moore, he's not bad in this movie, but he's made to do some rather uncomfortable things and some really slimy stuff towards women. Like, Connery would have gotten away with this, like slapping Andrea Anders about, but he has this wry confidence that makes him sort of likable, though he's doing these questionable things. But Moore, he just doesn't quite have this, and he comes across as like a bit of a cold-hearted twat in this movie. And also, this movie has probably the most annoying Bond girl so far in Mary Goodnight Britt Eklund as Mary Goodnight. She's a complete diss, and Bond seems like he doesn't even like her for most of the movie. And also, there's some horrible comedy in this movie, kind of like the last two movies. It's a symptom of this era of Bond. For example, Sheriff Pepper, he's back, and he's even more annoying than in Live and Let Die. And there's even a joke about Even when Bond is finding a pair of sumo wrestlers, yeah, he seems to give one of them a wedgie. Are you fucking kidding? But there is one shining beacon of light in this movie. His name is Christopher Lee as Scaramanga. He's easily in top 5 of the best Bond villains ever. He's threatening, he's suave, he's charming, he actually has a really nice layered personality in that he actually is quite a gentleman on the surface, but he has this darkness beneath the surface that comes out of occasionally, and man, he just deserves a so much better movie around him. I mean, yeah, this movie, it's really not nothing special, but it's just saved by one magnificent villain.
The Man with the Golden Gun is a mess of a film that can't decide if it wants to be serious or campy. It starts with a thrilling duel between Scaramanga and returning goon from Diamonds Are Forever, but it's a roller coaster quality after that. Including the next fight actually having an air where you can see the film crew in a mirror. And later on in 2 Bond's fights that go into Austin Powers' level of campiness. One of which has him fighting a pair of sumo wrestlers, and he combats them by trying to grab their rears. And at the end where he fights Nick Nack, and to defeat him he shoves him in a suitcase. The same tonal issues go into the emotional scenes, including whenever he interrogates Anders for information. It's followed by showing the rear of a waitress at a topless bar. And again, it's my favorite scene of the movie at the Muay Thai arena. It shows the great acting skills of Christopher Lee, showing just how menacing Scaramanga is supposed to be, just to be derailed by the following scene being the chase that everybody totally loves, with J.W. Pepper, the flying car, and the infamous penny whistle. And beyond the inconsistency issues, Bond's allies are just abysmal in this film. With Hip, who I still don't understand, decides mid-rescuing of Bond to abandon him and leave him to his own. And Goodnight, who gets captured as it means just a segue to the final battle. But thankfully, for the final battle, Hip doesn't appear anymore. And Goodnight, before the battle, makes herself look a fool, but once the battle starts, she disappears for the battle itself. And overall, it's great acting by Maud Adams as Anders, Christopher Lee as Cisco Scaramanga, and everything else is burdened by an awful script and a shoehorned in B-plot of a MacGuffin of a energy dependent item. Thankfully, Maud Adams returns for a better film later on.
The Man with the Golden Gun is a tragedy. Another small-scale Bond film that has so much potential becomes a half-baked Frankenstein monster of a film. The pre-credits are great, the whole Funhouse angle was good, and also the introduction of Scaramanga and Nick Nack is brilliantly done, especially the last part when Scaramanga turns around and shoots the fingers of the mannequin of Bond, which is a pretty weird sight, and certainly presents a villain who is a match for Bond both physically and mentally. However, what starts off so well soon descends badly. Bond swallowing the golden bullet, the annoying belly dancer who moans like an old hag, the music when Bond approaches Macau, Merry Goodnight, Lieutenant Hip, Fate Nipples, Karate School, Sheriff Pepper, dreadful. Just absolute dreadful. And the worst thing is, the film only picks up in the last 20 minutes, but the damage has already been done. The story itself should be the background to the main event, the dual showdown between Bond and Scaramanga, but instead is pushed to the forefront. Some say background makes foreground, but this is ridiculous. Thankfully, the pacing moves along quite nicely. It's just a shame what's in those scenes that is disappointing. Score-wise, it's very forgettable, except for the actual Bond theme, which Barry recorded a new version of for the gun barrel and for the car chase scene, and it will be this version of the theme that will be used for every Bond film Barry would serve as a composer till the end of his Bond tenure. As for the song, Well, it's pretty catchy, but it's not a great song, I have to be honest with you. Character-wise, however, Scaramanga is a great foe, and Christopher Lee plays him with charm, ruthlessness, and panache. However, whilst the villain is great, the others are not. This is the first film where Bond behaves like a complete and utter twat, and I for one feel sorry for Miss Anders in this film. And hell, even Mary Goodnight I have a sympathy for, but, you know, I forgive Bond for that. His behaviour is so bad that even M is pissed off at him. Hell, M's pissed off with everyone in this film, and I always wondered why does M have Scaramanga's phone number, and why? Kind of makes you wonder whether he was secretly happy that Bond was in his crosshairs. Also, Bernard Lee, I imagine, was pissed when shooting his scenes. I mean, the way he slurs "shut up" at Q, it's a dead giveaway. As for the rest, Hip is the worst ally Bond has ever had. The man is a grinning moron. He complicates life and he is useless in helping Bond, and he actually trusts the Solex with Goodnight. Goodnight, what a bimbo. Stupid, inept, and absolutely clueless to her surroundings. No wonder M entrusts her to Bond. It's obvious M wants him to either die or suffer heavily. Also, whose idea was it to bring back Sheriff Pepper? I mean, did people actually walk out of Live and Let Die and actually said, I want to see that guy again? Thankfully, this is the last time we see him. The Man with the Golden Gun is one of the weakest films of the series, and I can see why, even though, to be fair, the pacing of the film flies by, and it has one of the best villains of the series. In my opinion, this will be a candidate for one of my 5 worst Bond films list, but it's escaped by a hair, and a very short hair at that. It is very much at the bottom of the mediocre list, and I'm ashamed to say that. You know what? I'm sick and tired of The Man with the Golden Gun. Actually, I only have one last word to say on this film. Foo yuck.
So, Man with the Golden Gun, number 9. Again, bit of a mixed bag. Tonally, complete mess. It can't decide whether it wants to be serious or if it wants to be campy. A couple of moments I do like. John Barry's score is great. The slide whistle is completely unnecessary, though I don't know why that was even an option or even a choice. But there we go. Sheriff J.W. Pepper back is good. Christopher Lee, hands down, steals the film. Holds the whole thing together, most likely. I love the fact that he was also Ian Fleming's cousin, so it was just nice that he was even asked to play a bad guy, although he was asked to play Bond first. Nick Nack, I love him as a henchman. Plot-wise, bit off. Location-wise, again, there's some nice stuff around Hong Kong, but again, it's just underwhelming films. Not much, to be honest, apart from Christopher Lee, that I can give it huge praises for.
When I learned that the film of the week was The Man with the Golden Gun, I just decided to go. I just had to flee the country. Just couldn't do it.
Okay guys, so it seems to me that even when I'm trying to change countries, I still need to do these reviews. So I just arrived in France a couple of hours ago. I'm really tired, really. And basically, sorry for this review, it's not going to be a big one. It's going to be really short. So what do I think about The Man with the Golden Gun? I don't think it's good. It's not that bad. The thing is, there are good elements. I really like Francisco Scaramanga. Such a good villain, and played by Christopher Lee, a wonderful actor. And the whole thing about the Golden Gun, such an iconic weapon, and even the villain lair and the whole fun house at the beginning, the whole intro sequence is really good, and it brings tension. And you know, we spend some time with the villain, his henchman, played by a French guy, by the way, Hervé Vilches. Really great, you know, a really great henchman as well. And yeah, we spend time with them, so we get to know them. And the fact that Scaramanga is kind of an alter ego to James Bond is a great idea. And the final duel is, for me, the highlight of the movie. And then you've got all the rest, basically. The Bond guy is really forgettable. The allies are really forgettable as well. And Roger Moore is not good in this movie. He's not bad, but he's not, he's not great, I would say. He's trying to act like someone else, and you can see that he's not at ease, and we are not at ease as well. And the action scenes are not good. You've got the old karate things, and it's so badly done and not interesting, basically. The only good thing is the car chase, and only the end of it, with the car stunt, with the famous, whistle added, which I don't really mind that much, but yeah, it's definitely a bit corny. So, The Man with the Golden Gun, good elements, bad movie. So, I'll see you for The Spy Who Loved Me. Sorry about this really short review, and the one is gonna be much better, I hope. Okay, see you guys next week.
And that's it for this week's Bond Film of the Week episode in the lead up to No Time to Die. Would you like to join in on the weekly discussions and be featured with your review as well? Well, join the DBF community on Patreon, get access to my Discord server, as well as receiving other cool rewards. So join the DBF community and feel free to send in your review this week of The Spy Who Loved Me, and I'll be happy to feature you.